Welcome back to Animals Radio. This is Dr. Mike. I'm here with Aaron Thomas, and we have a very special guest this evening. First time on the show, and hopefully not the last. Hopefully we'll have him on regularly. His name is Peter Brown. I've known this wonderful man for a couple of years. He owns a company called Alpha Paws up in Newmarket. And Peter has a lot of training knowledge for your pet, and he does boarding. He's boarded my dogs before. Peter, you don't board my dogs, that's for sure. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey, welcome. Thank you very much.
Hey, so
pleasure to be here.
I'm going to tell everybody what your true focus is and how you started Alpha Paws. I kind of want to myself, just sort of origins and what made you get into the behavioral line with dogs and the like.
You know, Mike, it was interesting. I had a 4-month-old dog, Sandy, and I had to change jobs.
Right.
I didn't really know what to do. I didn't want to be the type of person to leave my dog at home all day while I worked, and I was always interested in dog training, so I thought I'd pursue it and get Sandy trained professionally, just like you did with me. I took her into a professional dog training place, and when we were there, I showed them what I'd already done. At 4 months old, with Sandy, she asked me to actually work there. So I was like, whoa, okay. I dropped my job. I worked there for like 2.5 years, learned the background of professional dog training, and then went out on my own. That was 9 years ago. So.
Wow. So you've been doing, and I know just from talking to you that just like me, been doing veterinary medicine for 20 years. I'm sure you can tell from me, just like I can tell from you, we both love what we do.
Well, you have to. When you work around dogs, it's not, if you don't love what you do, you really shouldn't do anything, truly. But,
it's no different working with kids. They're challenging. Yeah, they're challenging, and yet we either accept the challenge and love it, or we see it as a hindrance, right?
You can complain about anything, but in the end, it's the positive nature that will bring change.
Right.
In a positive way.
Excellent. So tell everybody a little bit about your training methods. I know you've got. I'm going to let you sort of highlight it yourself because I don't want to jump into it. But you have a training DVD in the 9 yards, and we'll talk about that. But what's your sort of kind of a summary of how you train pets? And your
really,
philosophy?
I train owners. Is really what I do.
Which is really what you need to do, and I'll tell you that's true.
Yeah, the dogs are so easy, especially at this point in my career. They're always going to act like dogs.
Right.
So it's really getting to the heart of the family and getting to the heart of what they really need out of this dog.
Right.
Sometimes it's very reasonable, sometimes it's not. Most often, the owners have to go through more changes than the dog does.
Right.
So, but when they are willing to put the commitment in, it is so profitable in the end.
Right.
So you can have the best dog in the world, or you can have a nightmare.
Right.
It's your choice.
So what is the biggest, let's talk about what's the biggest mistake that you see people make. I know what you're going to say, but I want everybody to hear out here.
Oh, Lord.
I know, there's a million, right? But what's sort of the biggest one? I mean, that people
Over-love.
do. Thank you. That's what I was hoping you were going to say, because that's what I see here.
Over-love is one of the biggest problems I see. Everybody thinks that over-love cannot affect your dog in an emotional way, but it really can. If you've turned the dog into the center of your universe, then the dog is going to push you around like you are its servant.
Because he is the center of the universe, right? You make them feel that way, they're going to act that way, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
It's really, you see it a lot with little dogs that you get carried around, that people carry around constantly, and then you lean in to pet them, and the dog goes, rah, rah, rah. Right? And you pull your hand back quick and go, whoa, I thought that was a cute little dog.
It's so fun.
What the dog's thinking is, this is my throne, right? I'm the king, and this is my throne, and you're taking my throne from me.
Right.
And I'm, the king doesn't listen to his throne, but he'll protect it with his life.
Exactly.
So.
It's true, and the funny thing is when you came over and we started training the dog, I remember you saying to kids, "Don't pick him up, let him walk. We'll get him to walk up the stairs. If you carry him up the stairs all the time, he's first of all going to think he's on, like you said, on the big throne, and he's never going to learn on his own."
Mother would never do that, and that's the whole thing. If you treat a dog or like its mother would,
right,
you can't go wrong.
Right. Wonderful. So, are there any we just talked about Boston Terriers. If for those of people listening out there that maybe have one of these dogs, what do you think are probably the top 5 dogs that you see in terms of behavioral problems?
Oh, the top 5 dogs.
Breeds of dogs. You're going to see a lot of mixed breeds, too.
These days, I see a lot of dogs that you don't normally see.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of golden retrievers with aggression issues.
Yes,
And
me too.
Labradors with aggression issues. 15, 20 years ago, you never saw that.
Right.
So I'm seeing genetic issues with all breeds. So not just, but if you looked at the specific problem breeds that I see, it really tends to be the larger breeds that are unhandleable, that people have not dealt with, and they become quite big and quite, dragging you down the street kind of thing.
Right.
And then you've got the little dogs that are overloved so much that they are running the household ragged, they're peeing and pooing all over the place, they're just making the household unlivable.
Right.
So, and people are quite often willing to overlook it.
Right.
So
what's a good
longer
time?
than I would, especially,
Exactly.
Well, you got to say, it's most of the small dogs out there that are being problems these days, I got to say.
Yeah, we have a lot of problem small dogs, and
Yeah.
I typically call them spoiled dogs. That's the problem. We're spoiling them so much that they
Yeah.
can't do any wrong, and boy,
and
they can.
just like a child, if you spoil a child, have you really helped that child?
Right.
None of us appreciated our parents' strict upbringing until we became adults and had kids.
Right. Exactly.
Where I hail from.
Now, do you have this seminar listed on your website?
I do indeed, alphapaws.com.
Alphapaws.com for all of you out there that are listening.